पॉलिसी बाजार पर 1 करोड़ रुपए का टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस केवल 450 रुपए महीने से शुरू। वाह!
Air quality, which is now worsening ahead of the new year. The centre's air quality panel has directed the implementation of restrictions under the stage 3 of the graded response action plan in the Delhi-NCR region. In a notification, the Commission for Air Quality Management in the national capital and adjoining areas stated that the air quality has deteriorated over the last few hours, and which is why the restrictions have now come into play. Delhi's AQI that was recorded at 399 points in the last 24 hours. The panel noted that the AQI in Delhi is expected to worsen even further. It's going to step into the severe category, and that's on account of calm winds and stable atmospheric conditions, which will lead to pollution crossing the 400 mark. There will be strict ban as far as non-essential constructions and demolition activities are concerned in the entire NCR, except for projects like the railway services, metro rail services. Those include the stations, airports, interstate bus terminals, national security and defence-related infrastructure, hospitals and other healthcare facilities as well. This morning, the pollution level touched about 369 points. That's the overall picture, but is expected to worsen, and that's because the winds are very calm. Let's now get you a check on what really happens when the pollution levels start to spike in the northern part of the country. We have Dr. Vivek Nangia, Principal Director and Head of Pulmonology of the Max Hospital, joining us here in Delhi. He works with the Max Hospital in Saket. We also have Dr. Vijay Kumar Soni, the Head of Environment and Monitoring and Research Centre of the IMD. Let me first take my first question to Dr. Soni. Dr. Soni, when we talk about how we are now all set up for the pollution levels to deteriorate even further, we've seen in the last 24 hours the pollution levels stepped into the very poor category, but now we're on the verge of pollution turning into the severe category, which is why there are restrictions and ban on construction activities which have now started to kick in. Tell us first and foremost, how bad is it going to get?
Yesterday, actually, this air quality touched to severe category, and that was mainly because of the meteorological conditions have deteriorated and not allowing pollution to disperse from this region. So, and the meteorological conditions will remain like this for the next 2 days, and then we will see some improvement.
Dr. Soni, given the fact that it is, a time for celebration as we close this year and we start the new year, Dr. Nangia, take us through some of the precautions that people should adhere to, given that everybody would be out and about celebrating New Year's Eve and also celebrating the new day of the new year. So, what should one, in order to safeguard oneself from the pollution spike that we're seeing here in the national capital and the NCR region? So, some precautions that one could follow.
I think what is very important for us to understand is that this air pollution, the quality that we have right now outside, is very, very bad and actually damaging our health. They're also reducing our longevity at some stage or the other. This actually takes me back to those pictures of what you would see in 1952 London smog, when there was totally windless situation, anticyclonic situation, winter chill, and all this smoke and smog had actually collected, which resulted in about 4,000 deaths in just 3 days' time. So this is exactly what we're experiencing so right now, and we need to be aware that it can really damage us. So I think the few precautions that you can take is, one, do not have any strenuous physical activities outdoors. Restrict your your movement outdoors to as minimum, as bare essential as possible. Next thing is that whenever you're moving out, you must be wearing your mask. The mask right now would provide triple advantage. It will prevent you from COVID. It will protect you from the swine flu and the influenza that is going around these days. And we're seeing a lot of these patients. And of course, it will also protect you from the particulate matter. So an N95 mask is something that we should continue wearing. Also, we should limit our exposure to smoke. So that would mean we should not be smoking. Or if you are smoking, then you should quit smoking. This is just the right time to be doing that. That could be a vow for your new year, a resolution for new year. And also be avoiding bonfires and standing around fires. This is the time when parties are happening. People would collect around fires and keep themselves warm because of the chill outside. But I think this is something that we need to avoid completely.
It's
Then
also
again,
the time when, all the guards, they also try to light a small fire in order to keep themselves warm at night. Certain restrictions on those fronts also, Dr. Nangia, if you could take us through, a step that needs to be taken by the government in order to ensure that the guards who are out on the streets are kept warm, but maybe, prevent them from lighting a fire.
absolutely, I would fully agree with you, Divya. I mean, this is a time when actually probably some corporates should also be pitching in and donating some kinds of blankets, woolen garments to all these guards to keep themselves warm at night. I mean, you wouldn't blame them actually completely for this, because they also need to be doing their duty while they have to keep themselves warm and fit. So I think but what they're not realizing is that in the attempt to keep themselves warm in the night, they're actually damaging their lungs also. So it is not just that they're contributing to the air pollution, but they're actually harming themselves. So it is very important, one, to make them aware of this. Probably RWAs and RWSs could actually take that responsibility onto themselves. And also some corporates could pitch in to provide them warm clothes, heavy jackets to keep them warm. Caps, mufflers, keeping the chest covered is very, very essential at this time.
Right, some thoughts to be spared for the ones that need a certain sort of help given the winter season, which is also synonymous with the pollution season. Dr. Soni, so, it's very visible this morning when we talk about the national capital and the NCR region. It is very smoggy. You can visibly see it. You can almost taste it. It's at the tip of your tongue. The pollution that we feel during the Diwali season, that's the kind of feeling that one is getting this morning. You're saying this is going to continue for the next 2 days, and that's when the winds will pick up speed, but we are in the middle of the pollution season. So how long does this pollution season really last as far as the Delhi-NCR region is concerned?
Main pollution season has really passed, and we see the peak in November actually, and then pollution start decreasing, but these episodes keep coming in because of meteorological conditions and the celebrations during this period. So we expect
also, Delhi's Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal reviewed the progress of the real-time source. This is the project that has been set to identify the sources of air pollution on a real-time basis. That's now started in the national capital. So the IIT will then be able to recognize exactly where the source of pollution is in real time and be able to identify that.
Yeah, of course, these measures really help, and these restrictions will also help controlling the pollution. So we expect that it will not, it will prevent us to reach in the remain in the severe category. So because of these restrictions, we may end up in very poor, but very poor is still not that.
Right. But we are on the verge of, the pollution worsening because the winds are very, very calm and the weather conditions are not permitting the pollutants to actually move out of Delhi. So word of caution to all those in the NCR region. And like Dr. Nangia was saying, try to prevent those bonfires, especially around New Year celebrations, and try to, think of your health first and then try and keep yourself warm, clad yourself well, layer yourself up, but don't burn those fires, and try and wear a mask if possible.